Hi friends, Principal Rabb-Patterson here on this Friday, September 18th. Let's find out what's going on with Troy. Chapter 13. The next Saturday we went out to Blanchard Polo Club. It wasn't in Philly. It was about an hour outside the city in the country. We used to go on family trips to the other side of Pennsylvania, but we never stopped in any towns along the way. Grandmom said it wasn't too long ago when we weren't welcome out there. She still wasn't sure about it. Dre said Winston knew everybody in the polo world. Sounded like he was a big deal to these folks. He always dressed nice, but that day he could have been on the cover of GQ. These creases in his pants looked like he could cut you, and his white shirt set off his dark skin real nice. And his watch, what's that word they use to sell expensive stuff? Classic. It was shaped like a rectangle in a socket so he could turn the face inside out with his thumb. When the face was down, you couldn't tell what time it was because all you saw was a metal case. He said watches like that were first made back in the day to prevent polo balls from smashing the face. Alicia was the bomb. Girl had on a white dress with a mean pair of leather riding boots. The shine on them almost blinded me. To top it off, she had on a straw hat with flowers on the brim. Me and Foster had been dying to get a ride in Winston's two-seater convertible, but Winston borrowed Dre's white van for the day. There wasn't much room with all the equipment. Dre always carried around, and Jerome, who invited him at the last minute. Winston wasn't too happy about that either. He'd had it out with Jerome about his drawings on the bulletin board. We saw some funny stuff on the way to Blanchard. Folks dressed like the olden days. Saw a bunch of men with long beards driving their horse and buggy things. Winston said they were Amish. I'm starting to get sick-side. That was Foster. He was all slumped down in his seat. Seasick? We're nowhere near water. Alicia turned around to look at him. I know, but all these little hills twisting and turning is getting to me. Most people think these rolling hills are beautiful, said Winston, checking out Foster in the rearview mirror. You're the first person I've met who finds it sicking. Maybe you need to eat, I said. Don't worry about eating, said Alicia. Wait until you see the spread at the club. She turned back around, smiling to herself. Why do you think I'm here? Asked Jerome. Actually, nobody knew why he came with us. This was supposed to be a chance for me and Foster to see a pro match. Alicia rolled her window down so Foster could get more air. We've been invited into the VIP tent, thanks to Uncle Winston. We knew you were the man, Jerome said, tapping Winston on the shoulder. I've already seen our team play the Jersey guys, so I knew the basics. The game looked like it was just about getting the ball through the goalpost, but it was really about controlling your horse. It'll do you guys good to be on the scene, Winston said. We were pulling off the road onto this real long driveway. We weren't even at the club, but it was already beautiful. I never saw grass so green. And all the trees looked like they came straight out of the book. No vines or brown spots on them. The birds were even better than the ones we saw around our way. Pretty red and yellow ones. Pigeons must not even been around out there. The driveway took us past fields with lots of horses. Everything about them was perfect. Who lives here? I asked, pointing to trailers parked off to the side. Oh, those belong to the polo players, Winston said. A lot of these guys travel around the country playing on the circuit. Finally, we pulled up near the playing field. There were bleachers on one side with some cars parked really close by. People were tailgating in little groups. Why didn't we bring any food? Foster asked. I'm starving. Winston pointed across the field to a big white tent. You're in for a treat, he said. Just checking out the cars was already a treat. Winston parked the van between a Mercedes and a Jag, and we walked over to the polo field to the tent. All I can say is he wasn't lying about the grub. We had shrimp, steak, the sweetest corn on the cob I ever tasted, ice cream, everything. And all the stuff they talked about on Grandmom's cooking show was laid out too. Oysters and all these cheeses that smelled kind of bad. The whole setup was like a wedding you see on TV. Tables with white tablecloths and flowers. Looked like there was a bar in every corner. Winston was shaking his hands with just about everybody. He introduced us to people who slapped us on the back and said they couldn't wait to see us on the field. So you're a part of Winston's hotshot polo team, this one old guy said. He was dressed funny, wearing faded red shorts, with a yellow shirt and a green plaid jacket. You must be good if you're with him. Me and Foster weren't sure what to say, but Jerome loved all that kind of talk. Just wait till you see us at exhibition, he said. Looked like a lot of folks were just there for the party. Some guys in the tent were already drunk, and it was only 2 o'clock. Some of the ladies, too. I saw why Alicia got dressed for this. Ladies were putting on a fashion show, trying to get everybody's attention. Winston walked over to the edge of the tent so he could check out the players when they rode onto the field. They looked as good as their horses, reminded me of how Winston looked the first day we saw him. They were flexing so everybody could see their stuff. Yeah, they were cool. Me, I couldn't take my eyes off the horses. Problem was, I didn't know where to look. Horses were everywhere, on the polo field, running along the sides and standing at both ends, and there was that sound of thunder everywhere. It felt dangerous to be standing in the middle of all of that. Winston waved me and Foster over to sit with him when the match started. We had the best seats in the place, right on the center line. The umpire threw the ball in and the players went for it. It was like the tip-off in a basketball, but on horseback. The horses knew what they were supposed to do. They were bumping up against each other, trying to get close to the ball. The players were bumping up against each other too. They needed the pads, the boots, the helmets, all of it for protection. Nobody was holding back. One player got to the ball and smashed it down the field. He took off after it, and the other players lit out after him. Pretty exciting, isn't it? Winston said. He was looking down the field through a pair of binoculars. A player was hanging off the side of his horse, holding his mallet like somebody having a real good time at a house party. They let us sit up so close to the field, Foster asked. We could be in trouble if one of these horses get out of control. They're ponies, said Winston, never horses. Whatever, said Foster, frowning at me. They could hurt you. Only losers worry about getting hurt, said Jerome. These guys know their stuff. He had worked his way over to where we were sitting. You're right to worry, Foster. This is a tough game, said Winston. The ponies can go up to 35 miles per hour. That's what I mean, said Foster. I should have brought my football helmet. Football? Laughed Jerome. Boy, where are you from? Well, unlike football, Winston said, cutting his eyes at Jerome, there aren't any set plays. The players have strategies, but they have to listen and keep looking behind to figure out where the next play will be since they're not facing the ball. Is that why they're all shouting? I asked. Mm-hmm. They're at a gallop, and they have to get their pony in line with the ball so they can pass it to a teammate or try to make the goal. Look at how the ponies are sweating, I said. They're really working. Yes, they are, said Winston. It's hot and they're going all out. In professional games, the players change ponies after each chuka. There's no way one animal could last the whole hour and a half. I didn't know if I could last the whole hour and a half. Felt like I was crazy or something. I knew Winston and them were there because I heard their voices, but the sound of the mallet smacking the ball was louder. Earth to Troy, Alicia was nudging me. I hadn't even heard her walk up. What's up? I asked, not taking my eyes off the field. That was deep. I never thought I'd pass up a chance to look at her. And that was the end of chapter 13. I hope you have an amazing weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.